Has anyone wrongfully assumed you were dumb, and in the process made themselves look really dumb? What's your story? I film and edit promotional videos, then post them on my company's YouTube channel. The day after I uploaded a particular run-of-the-mill video, my manager calls me into his office because one of our douchebag directors, who hates our department and loves undermining me in particular, sent an email to my manager and a few higher-ups. In the email he stated that I had messed up the promo video because there were all of these other disgusting videos attached to it. As proof, he included a screenshot of the end of the video, where all of the recommended videos appeared to star scantily clad Asian women in suggestive poses. Neither he nor my manager knew how YouTube algorithms worked, and that the videos were suggested because he, or someone on his account, viewed that kind of content before. I have no idea how my manager explained this to him. A Dutch couple visited my workplace, Tourist Visitor Center, and insisted that the French translation on our map was wrong. The reasoning was that Groenland shouldn't be there because it was the Dutch word for Greenland, not the French one. I told them that Groenland was also the French translation, to which they chided back. "And how would you know? I'm bilingual. I speak French," I informed. "Clearly, not very well," they insisted, then proceeded to ask for the Wi-Fi so they could use Google Translate. Well, I gave them the Wi-Fi, and to Google Translate they went. Sure enough, Groenland. They didn't even apologize, they just said, "I guess the map is correct then," and left. A-holes. They just wanted to get free Wi-Fi. Our school's schedule got revamped, which meant that one of our classes that was 2 periods long was cut in half to accommodate for all the changes. When I brought this up to the teacher I was co-teaching with, she called me an idiot and told everyone sitting in our table group that I wasn't very good at math, as everyone laughed. A few minutes later, the principal cleared up the new schedule, only for her to realize that she was wrong in the first place. Felt so good to see the look on her face when she realized she was the dumbass, and not me. What kind of teacher calls someone an idiot and continues to make fun of that person? What a horrible person. Glad she had a reality check. Sadly, a lot of teachers are horrible people. Can confirm. Source: I'm a teacher and also a horrible person. I am an application developer in the public sector. I have made many of the computer programs where I work, such as the human resources, incident reporting, and some of the case management systems. Several times I have had people try to tell me, wrongly, how to use an application that I made. I especially like it when they tell me I should ask the people at the company. What company would that be? I tell them that it is very flattering that they think that the software was made by an entire company instead of by me alone in my office. Haha. Reminds me of the time we had a PM and his crew come in and brief our group on a migration they were about to do. What he laid out made no sense to anyone, and I figured I'd ask a few questions to maybe help him see the error in his ways. He got all pissed off that anyone would question his wisdom and asked who the hell I thought I was. The look on his face when I said the author of the procedure and code they were using was priceless. Corporate trainer came to our offices to provide training. I popped into the room to say hello and see if she needed help. She was having trouble setting up the projector before the session. I started trying to help, but I'm not really savvy with projectors. She was getting frustrated with me as she assumed I was the IT dude, and obviously not a very good one. We eventually got it fixed, and I offered her a coffee. She was a bit rude to me by that stage. I got her one anyway. Fast forward to the session itself, and I introduced her to the room of 40 people and thanked her for coming. She realized I was the head of the division and was the one paying for her to be there. I felt very smug at that point. As someone who has traveled the world giving presentations, this person is an idiot. The on-site IT folks are pretty high up on the list of people not to piss off when you rely on their equipment to be able to do your job. Very true. She was flustered because she was trying to prepare for the meeting, but that's no excuse for shitting on the guy trying to help her. The interesting this is she has quite a public profile, podcast, website, etc., and is always preaching love, tolerance, etc. as part of her training. Clearly not that particular day. Had a friend in college who was very full of himself. One morning while eating breakfast in the cafeteria, someone said, "I wonder how bagels are made." I said, I'm pretty sure bagels are boiled, the pompous friend then said. What are you, stupid? Bagels aren't boiled. That's fucking ridiculous. Someone did a quick Google search to find that bagels are, in fact, boiled. People seemed genuinely intrigued by this information. Crap like this is why I've stopped being so confident in life. Just be comfortable with saying, I don't know, and you can get it back. Ignorance is only bad if you cling to it. As the quote I'm about to butcher from Socrates goes, to know that you know nothing is the beginning of wisdom. Didn't necessarily make anyone look dumb, but certainly made some people feel bad. I lived in Germany for a year after high school as part of an exchange program, and there were several times where I had to make phone calls. I had to call doctors, employers, program coordinators, etc., so I got fairly used to the whole telephone garb in German. I could speak pretty fluently on the phone, but since it's not my native language, I would of course make small grammatical errors and stuff like that. This led to the unfortunate situation where people would assume I was German when on the phone because I spoke well enough, but since I kept making mistakes, I was also stupid. People were quite rude to me over the phone, assuming that was due to the assumed stupidity. After revealing I was actually a foreigner, they always sounded so surprised and complimentary of my German, and were much more helpful and polite afterwards. I was working as a teller at the bank years ago, and a Karen was complaining about how slow and shitty my computer was. If I had been using an IBM, she'd have been out of there already. She works at IBM, they only make the best, fastest bank equipment. Blah blah blah. I slowly, deliberately turned my slow, shitty IBM computer for her to look at. Not another word. Oh, I have a very similar story to this. I went to get a haircut this one time, and the hairdresser made a big show of how terrible my faded highlights were. How the previous hairdresser did a lousy job and how I got ripped off. Then he asked me where I got it done from. Here. When I was in 8th grade, we had the 17-year cicadas making an appearance where I live, and I was explaining to my science teacher how I had tons of seagulls by my house, eating the cicadas. She proceeded to tell me over and over that we do not have seagulls in our area because we do not live by a body of water. Lake Michigan was 45 minutes away. I said, well, I definitely have seagulls in my yard eating cicadas. A week or so later, she comes back with a newspaper with a big picture of seagulls on it. They were hanging out in the suburbs to eat the cicadas. She admitted she was wrong. But like my entire life, cicadas or not, we've had seagulls in parking lots. This lady must not have been from around here. We just had more because of the cicadas. My wife and I were traveling with a couple we worked with in South Korea. We weren't best friends with them, but they were nice enough, so we rented a car and traveled around the island of Jeju. Now, this is a small island and you could drive around it in 4 or 5 hours, but we were taking our time seeing the sights. The guy was a bit of a know-it-all, but they had been in Korea 6 months longer than us, so I always tools his advice. Anyways, I'm driving the car and we are trying to find the place that we want to eat. I say something like, "We are going the right way." This guy responds with, "No, we are going south. Trust me, I majored in geography." I look straight ahead into the setting sun and respond with, "Weird, we found the one place on Earth where the sun sets in the south." Well, that shit him up for a while. When I was in the army, me and a group of specialists were standing in a circle, taking a break in the motor pool. A lieutenant came out and said he needed a forklift driver, went around the circle, pointed at each male and asked them if they had their license. None of them did. He huffed and walked away. He had clearly, obviously skipped over the other female and I in the circle. That was fine. We were the only 88M, heavy vehicle operators, and forklift licensed people there. The dudes were all paralegals and HR specialists. Everyone laughed. What an embarrassing moment for him. I'm currently a junior in college, and a couple of weeks ago, when the semester started dying down, I left the dorms to come back home and finish things out online. I also started working at the local grocery store as well. Around a week ago, as I was checking out 2 customers when they told me they wanted to pay 50-50 with 2 cards. Our system requires us to manually enter the price, so I did, and the lovely gentleman told me my math was wrong and said he's a sophomore engineering student at a school nearby to help justify why he was correct. I respond, "Oh cool. I'm actually a junior at, insert much better engineering school. What are you studying?" while also pulling up a calculator and showing him he was wrong. Everyone always assumes the workers here are dumb, so it's always nice to show them otherwise. When I was in 6th grade, our science teacher asked what is the shape of rainbow. I instantly answered saying it's circle. Then the so-called topper of our class looked at me and laughed, and did some trash talk afterwards. When the teacher said circle is the correct answer, whole class laughed at her. Interrupted a group of Chinese girls on the subway in Beijing when they were saying some rude things about foreigners. A 6-foot ginger-haired white girl speaking Mandarin was clearly unexpected. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.